Yes, my people, welcome back to another episode of Where's My Podcast. And today we're joined by another special guest. We're joined by FD from the future. Right?
My guy, what's going on?
So, hey, that was better because you
Yeah, I
didn't
don't
know
want to hit that. I don't want to hit the mic.
Hey, bro, love for coming on the podcast,
Come on, bro. Come on.
So, as I told you before, at the start of every episode, I basically just say, why are you the guest or in the chair? And obviously, this is an interesting one because you hit me up.
Yeah.
You get it? And no, love for that, though.
Yeah, come on.
I appreciate that, man. I've been telling people, hit us up if you want to come on. You know what I'm saying? And with you, bro, it's like, once you hit us up and we finally connected and started talking, obviously that's when I started doing my digging and I started doing my research. I started to understand who you are. And I became very intrigued in your character.
Yeah.
Because obviously if you're speaking off camera, you're different, bro, but in a good way, in a sense that I feel like when it comes to content creation, which is obviously a bit of what you do, it's important to be unique and it's important to stand out. And I feel like the way you do it is so organic in the sense that you're not forcing it. You're just being yourself, but naturally, because of the way you are being different, it stands out amongst the crowd, innit? So obviously that's one of the reasons. And I feel like the presenting space within fashion, I don't want to say it's an untapped market because it's not, but I can't think of many names that come to my head straight away. And I feel like with the content you're making and how you're doing it, you're positioning yourself as one of the go-to guys. And because of that, there's a lot that I can learn from you. And there's also a lot that the listeners, the watchers can learn from you. So I just need you to spit some real game today.
Of course, bro.
You get me, bro?
Of course. Nah, I appreciate those words.
No,
well,
bro,
man.
come on, bro. I'm honest,
thank
man.
you.
And also, bro, you just seem like a cool brother, man.
Yeah, I'm a cool brother, man.
Yeah, you are.
I feel like people confuse me sometimes because they feel like maybe sometimes on social media, because I be going on rants and that, they might think I'm a bit negative, but in reality, I'm a positive brother. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just happy to be here.
No,
innit?
for real, you come in with good energy and whatnot. You pulled up with your bedroom tryst and that, good energy as well.
My bodyguard, you get me?
I can't like, even when you was walking, bro, I thought, really
come
the
on.
bodyguard
If there's a problem, you know, I'm with him. So,
there.
but yeah, man, I'm here. Let's get to it, man. I'm gassed.
Let's do it. But yeah, FD, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah.
There's only one place to start. We go straight to the beginning, bro.
Yeah.
So obviously, I know you're. In fact, let me let you start. So, talk me through your background, where you come from, and whatnot. Then we go from there.
Okay, so I think a lot of people think I'm English, but I'm not English. Okay, I want to get that straight. I'm not English. I do not rep for this country.
Who
I'm sorry.
Who just bought the World Cup, son?
Oh well, Italy. But obviously we weren't there, so it's peak. So I was back in the young France, of course. You know what I mean? We're repping the colours today. But so I'm Italian, half South African. My parents migrated here when I was about 2 years old. And I mean, when I was growing up, my parents were broke, like dead broke. And we grew up outside of London. So we grew up in an area called Crawley in West Sussex. I mean, for the people who don't know, Gatwick is in Crawley. So Gatwick is in Crawley, West Sussex. Yeah, man, I'm not going to lie. Like, growing up, nothing too crazy, really. Like, I don't want to get too deep, but in, like, year 6, my parents split up. And around the same time they split up, my mum got breast cancer. So it was a weird time for me and my brother. So I have one brother. Me and my brother, it was a weird time because obviously my parents split up and my mum was going through like a bad illness. And like, it was just all a bit, I'm not gonna lie, like that part of my childhood was very much like a blur. And then, God willing, thank you God, my mum got over cancer. And then obviously my parents split up, whatever, 2 different households. And I just remember like growing up, all the man them, all they used to do was kickball and just be on some raggo shit. So for me, I was kind of like in between all of it, but I'm so dead at kicking ball. Like, and growing up, I used to love football and that. Like,
Who do you support? Arsenal
Guna, come on, you already know it. Come on. But yeah, like I didn't really resonate with either things. Like I was around a lot of men who was doing a lot of bad stuff, and I was going back to a nice household, but I was around like some craziness. And also people think outside of London it's all sweet and berries and all this, but I'm telling you now,
Real stuff going
there's
on.
some real stuff going on outside of London that people do not know about, you know what I'm saying? But I think like growing up, like we still had like no money in both households. No one had any money. So like trying to get like new shoes, new clothes and that, it was hard. Like even up until probably my parents split up, my mum was just going charity shops, Christmas, things like that. So I was always like, I never felt broke because my mum and my dad would they never made it obvious. But my mum only told me this stuff when I was growing up, that all the stuff we used to have was secondhand and all this. So, which is kind of good because I feel even more grateful for the things I had. You know what I'm saying? But
do you know what, FD? Let me pause you there.
Yeah.
I'm happy the conversation kind of transcended into fashion somehow.
Yeah.
Because that's the reason, I don't know if you know, but that's the reason I asked that question, because I'm always intrigued to see, when does fashion start becoming too important to the guest, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what would you say your earliest memories are of like caring about fashion while she was growing up in Crawley and whatnot? How were people dressing?
Yeah, so it's funny because my whole family, no one's into fashion. Like my brother got
Italians
no swag.
as well.
Yeah, my dad got no swag.
He said
like
no
there's two
drip.
styles of Italians. There's like the one, you know what I mean, they're swagged out in the high fashion. My pops, he pulling up in some 3/4 length Slazenger tracksuit bottoms. You got some off-brand running shoe. He might pull up in a Billabong t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? He got no swag. My mum even jokes. I think my mum, she always tells me she got like the same clothes from like 20 years ago. Like she just doesn't care about fashion. My mum's a jeweler, so my mum cares a lot about like architecture and shapes and like things like that because she likes jewelry. So, that was hella random. But growing up, obviously the man them just always wearing tracksuits or like football gear and like, you know.
You're saying jeans and AstroTurfs?
Yeah, like real early on that, you know what I mean? But shout out my guy back home, my right hand, Shumba, Ash, my boy. He, from young, his pops would always go to America and like take him. So I was really young learning about, you know, like Ralph Lauren and like all the stuff from the outlet stores. So it sounds dumb, but I was heavy on like Calvin Klein tracksuits and like things like that because he would just come back and it would cost him like £10 for like a full tracksuit because it was so cheap.
And it was from the outlets.
You know what I mean? Polo head to toe, like, but I couldn't afford that. But I started learning a lot about like Jordans, Huaraches, things like that, right? But then probably like 12, 13, I fell in love with Tumblr. And Tumblr was the start of everything for me. So I learned about Bape, Billionaire Boys Club, Pyrex, like all these things really early. But then I fell in love with hip hop as well around the same time. So this was like Schoolboy Q, Kendrick before he was Kendrick. This was like Matt Miller. Trying to think who else. Whole of ASAP Mob. And you know, ASAP Rocky just had everything like back then. You know what I mean? Like Peso time, he had like all the Supreme towels and like, I knew about all this stuff, but not being in London and stuff, I didn't know you could actually buy it. I thought it was just an American thing.
Do you know, FD, that's such a good point. But let me go back a bit,
Yeah.
Why do you think you gravitated to those types of fashion? Because obviously Tumblr is a whole world where you could end up liking anything. Why was it that stuff that resonated with you?
You know what? Yeah, I think it's because I grew up around a lot of black culture. So all of my friends back home are black, and I grew up around a lot of African people. Like my best friend, he's Zimbabwean, and obviously I'm South African, so Zim and South Africa are so close, the culture's so similar. But obviously, being in the households and things like that, they were showing me a lot of other sides of black culture that I didn't know about. You know what I'm saying? Music, food, just culture in general. So for me, it was like second nature. You know, like I'll be out with my friends, I'll be around it, I'm going home, I'm learning more about it, you know what I mean? And then I just fell in love with it, innit? And it just resonates with me because I guess it was just what I was around so much. So, yeah, man. So from young, like, I mean, you definitely know, but the people might not know, but I was rapping like from young.
Yeah, I see,
And this might sound weird, but I feel like because I was like the only white boy in the group, I feel like I had to prove myself more. So a lot of the man them were rapping as well, but I was 100% the best one because I just like was just trying so much harder. You know what I mean? And
wait, FD, why did you feel like that? Because I resonate with that. Don't get me wrong, I can fully get why you felt like that, but why did you feel like that?
I just feel like because I'm white, I feel like in a lot I feel like white people in black culture, they don't realize that they're a guest in the culture. You know what I mean? So I always knew my place in that culture. I always knew that I was a guest, but I always knew that I was grateful to be in that. You know what I mean? So even growing up, I always felt like I was part of a family, but I always knew like I wasn't black. You know what I mean?
You were like the cousin.
Yeah, I was the white boy in the group. But I feel like to me that was just like, it just felt normal to be part of it. But also people would always try to say like weird things to me, like people who weren't in the group, you know, like, do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying? Like, white people are weird, man. Like, some white people will say some weird stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I always knew that I was a guest of black culture, especially when I had my rap career, when I was rapping. But yeah, like I said, I was just grateful to be a part of it, you know what I mean?
You know, FD, you also made a really good point where you said, because you're from outside London, the stuff you were finding on Tumblr, like the swag and whatnot, you felt like you didn't think it was attainable. Yeah. Why?
I think it's just because, like, I was broke. So there was no way in hell I was buying a Bape jacket at 15 years old. But I remember, so in Crawley, in West Sussex, there's like Crawley, which is kind of run down. There's some nice areas. Then there's an area called Horsham, which is like way nicer. So you see in London, you could be on a road and it will be two. But in West Sussex, it's kind of areas, right? So I grew up in Crawley, but I went to college in Horsham, and my dad moved to Horsham around the same time, which was such a good time for me to move there, because when I went to Horsham, everyone had money, and we pulled up on some like completely different,
Crawley shit.
On some Crawley shit. But because of that, the girls loved us and the man them hated us. But because of that, we were at every party and we were just running through all the girls. So like, it was lit for us. But the Crawley and me, I was on some bullshit. So every house party I'd be pulling up to, oh, you got a nice little t-shirt there. Let me take that.
She was yakking.
I remember, I remember the night I lost my virginity. I remember being in this guy's house, shout out him. I remember I was in one side of the house. This is how big the house was. And I remember I went through his closet. Pause, that sounds wild. I was in the cupboard and he had it was like a Swarovski like Bape hoodie. It had all jewels on it and that. And I was so annoyed because how the hell do you have this? He had pirate shorts and everything. I was like, you are such a weight. Like, you're just a neek and you got all this and I don't have it.
So you were looking at it like, oh, no, you don't even understand this.
You don't understand how much this means to me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think it was obtainable. But I feel like those things there, like, brought like a fire to my belly, you know what I mean? Like, it brought this fire in me where I knew I had to get these things. I just didn't know how I was gonna get them. But yeah, those were probably like the earliest memories of like fashion to me.
It's so interesting because so many of the things that I think about you are starting to make sense from just hearing about certain things you've experienced and whatnot. But going forward with the fashion stuff, obviously you was rapping at the time, and then my earliest sort of fashion memory of like as in going through your stuff was like the modeling stuff. So how did you kind of get into that? Because like a boy from Crawley and whatnot, you don't necessarily expect him to end up on JD adverts and stuff like that.
So quick one, because I always say this for the sneakerheads out there. Like 2016, my guy Ash, his mum's friend was working for Virgin. So long story short, she basically patterned all of us to go to Chicago 2016. So I would have been 17. 2016, go Chicago for 3 days, everything 5-star, business, boom, boom. And it was like £100. Like, it was so cheap. So I was like, yeah, fuck it. I was working at JD at the time. And then we went to Chicago and I bought my first pair of Jordans, and it was the Flu Game Jordan 12s. So if that doesn't prove I'm different, I don't even think half of the people in the UK know what a Jordan 12 is. And it was a Flu Game as well. I bought it in downtown Chicago in the Jordan store, and it was crazy. Because that probably sparked my main love for sneakers, right? So that's just one for that. But modeling. So the college I was at in Horsham, there was a guy who was there. His name was Ruben Selby. So for people who know who Ruben Selby is, he's a big name in the fashion industry. Now, when I first met him, he didn't know who I was, anything like that. But Ruben, also fun fact, Marino Morwood, my guy, he went to the same college in Horsham as well.
No way.
He's from Horsham.
Big up
as well.
Marino.
Big up Marino, that's my dog. So, and also big up Harry, actually. Big up Casper Massey. I don't think he wants me to say his real name, but Casper went to the same college as me as well. So I've known these guys from early, right? Anyway, Ruben was at my college, and shout out my guy Zaid. Zaid was cool with him. They were a year above me. Anyway, when I was working at JD, Zaid worked next door to me in Sunglasses Hut. And Zaid come into my work one day on my lunch, and he was like, bro, Ruben wants to scout you for a modeling agency called Brother Models. Shout out Michael Mayer, and he runs Brother Models. And I was like, fuck modeling, bro. Like, what's modeling, bro? And, you know, I'm chatting to the man and whatever. They're like, nah, that's gay. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, but maybe I'll do it. You know what I mean? Anyway, I went and met with him. And the first time I met Michael, so Ruben just scouted me, right? But the first time I met Michael, I come to London. This, bearing in mind, I never come to London, right? Probably in my lifetime before that, I've probably been to London like 4 or 5 times. Because there's no reason to go to London, right? I met him in London, Michael, the owner, and he took some headshots of me in Vice. He rented a room in Vice. And bearing in mind, like I said, I was on Tumblr, and obviously I was living on YouTube, right? And back then, YouTube was like the only platform for content. 100%. So it was like TV. Yep. So I was only watching Vice. You know, I was watching people lick frogs to get high and shit like that, right?
Hey, they're drug content.
Do you know what I mean? It was fucking lit, like back in the day. So I was like, yeah. So I was like, Vice, like fucking hell. I was like, all right, maybe he's proper. Took the headshots, whatever. I'm meeting a bunch of random people and like whatever. And then he was like, cool, I got you a casting at ASOS around the corner. So I'm like, all right, bet I'm 17.
Was this all in the same day?
All in the same day, bro. I'm 17. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, cool. I go to ASOS, I'm fucking shit scared. I've never taken any photographs.
So you don't even know how to pose.
Yeah,
like that.
I'm mad nervous because people see me now, bare confident,
Well, it was like that.
But bro, it was never like that. Because you gotta remember, all the things I said beforehand, I'm in a group of man them, you know, it's all very alpha male. I'm not like that, bro. So I was always the quiet one, you know what I mean? Like I said, I had to prove myself in other ways, rapping things that, you know, I played my position. So I was a fish in deep water. Then I went back to JD, I said, fuck that, I quit. I said, yeah. Because I remember,
after one gig in
bro, I didn't even get a job as well. I was just casting. But I remember one day he texted me, I was at work, and he said, Stone Island want to see you.
Okay.
I quit my job the same day.
He's like, I'm gone.
I said, I'm gone. I just took a risk. And early doors with Brother, within like the three months, he flew me to Spain. I shot with Zalando. Sorry, I shot with, was it Zalando? No, Pull and Bear. But it was in Zara's headquarters in North Spain.
What's it called? The Interdex group or something?
Yeah. It was in North Spain, and they had me in a hotel for like 4 days. Everything paid for. They paid me a fucking bag, 17. And I thought, like, bro, like, I might as well just ride this. So I started building a portfolio, and then I went to a couple other agencies, and then Storm Models signed me.
Big, and they're huge, right?
Yeah, massive. Storm Models, they had the likes of Cara Delevingne, Kate Moss, just bare people. So when I got into Storm, it was just like non-stop for like a year and a half, I would say. So I was just busy, man. I did bare shit. But I always want people to know that I would have never done it if I didn't get scouted. Because a lot of people, they used to like, I had 2 like model friends, right? The whole time. Because like, everyone would be in this like modeling industry thinking they were like fucking celebrities and that, but like, all you're doing is posing in front of a camera. There's no talent there. So, yeah, man. And then, I quit like 2021.
As in, you quit modeling, full stop?
Yeah, I quit modeling.
Because, sorry, let me pause you there, FD.
Yeah.
Obviously, get into Storm. big deal, as you said. You could have ended up in the front of editorials or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Fly guy, like that was the trajectory and whatnot. And I think throughout this conversation, although we've seen like you had an interest in fashion and there was a spark there, I haven't necessarily seen that at that point you kind of knew what you wanted to do. So how come at that point you knew you didn't want to model though?
So 2021, I was on Storm for like a year and a half, and then there was a new team that covered the men's board, and they were just like fucking pricks. Like they know who they are. Them man are fucking waste, man. And then they just kind of like put me behind everyone else. And then because of that, you start losing bread, right? You're not consistent.
Yeah.
And people forget modeling is not like a job. You don't get paid
a salary.
You don't get paid every 30th of every month. Like you wait till you get your invoice. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't consistent enough. And it's annoying because I felt like I wasted so much time. Like I wasn't doing anything. If I wasn't modeling, I was just in the gym. So it was just kind of like I wasn't doing anything with my life. But then I left Storm, I went back to Brother, did a lot with Brother. I started doing a lot more of like the JD stuff, like you said earlier, like in stores and like things like that. So I was like, yeah, this could work again. And then I was like, nah, it's still not consistent enough. So I was working at Tesco and I was just panicking because I was like, I don't know what to do. And basically, long story short, my pops and his partner, my pops and my stepmom, they moved to Scotland. And then, because she's Scottish, so they moved to Scotland. And my dad lived in Horsham, but my mum ended up moving from Crawley into like the countryside. And basically, me and my brother had to up and move and live with my mum. And that is just where like my life just started going like this. And I was just like, my girl lived in London. So I would like come see my girl for like 4 days in a week. And then like she'll be working and I'll just be working this part-time job, getting modeling jobs, whatever. And I was just telling myself like, I need to quit modeling because it's not consistent. I can't keep like taking days off work, lose my job. Do you know what I mean? I need to look for a job in London. So 2021, yeah. I mean, that's it for modeling. I just quit because I needed a job in London. But yeah.
And were you ever passionate about modeling?
No, I was just passionate about the bread.
Yeah, no, I hear it. It's just a means to an end, really.
Yeah, because people always thought like, I think that's what I mean. People, now I don't think as much, but then everybody thought I was like stuck up and things like that. But I was just like, this is just my job, innit? Like, I'm not actually stuck up. I just need money.
Do you know what, FD? Yeah, you also said something really interesting when you mentioned how you got pushed back when you was at Select, yeah? Sorry, Storm, sorry, what did I mean Select? Storm, yeah? And I don't know, I'm going to go round the bend, but I've seen how I feel like from seeing your journey, it's almost as though once you stopped modelling, you became more of who you were kind of meant to be to a certain degree. Do you ever feel like the type of person you are held you back in modelling in a sense, like, because I clocked that you started growing your hair once you left modelling. Did you have to stay like a certain type of person within the modelling industry?
So they kind of like brand you, right?
Yeah.
So obviously Fabio Dessena, or people obviously know me, FD from the future, but they used to call me Fab. So I'll go to castings, people would be like, what's your full name? And I'll just be like Fab. And then, but the best thing about modeling for me is I was rapping at the time. I would just plug my shit to everyone, like creative directors and people like that. And with me, this is the thing is with me, I hold my hands up and say, back then I was annoying. There's bare man in the industry now who know me from then, who I just bombarded them with my music and I was annoying. And I'm a man. I'm not gonna be like, people be like, oh, do you know this guy? And I'll be like, yeah, I do know him because I used to fucking be in his DM every day sending him my music. And a lot of people probably hate me for that and probably think I'm moist for that, but I was just on the grind and I was like 19 years old. So I don't have any, like, you see with me, I put my pride to the side. Yeah, I put my pride to the side for certain things. You know what I mean? Naturally. Like that, I don't care. Like I was on the grind. So if anybody's ever gonna cuss me out for that, that's on you, bro. Because I completed the rap game and now I'm here, so it doesn't really fucking matter. But I feel like I kind of played the modeling game for what I needed it then. because I was rapping. So I was just plugging my music everywhere. Every shoot I'd be on, I'd just play my music and just like things like that. So, but it definitely did hold me back because I had a shaved head back then and I couldn't grow my hair out because you would have to do a whole new portfolio and things like that. It's just long. But yeah. I definitely started becoming myself after that.
Yeah, no, that's good to see, man. And obviously I want to speak to models on the platform and whatnot, but I've never had like a model. So I've always found that interesting how you have to stay like the archetype. And more often than not, obviously you grew a lot, like when you're that age, especially from the age of 17 or whatever to 20, 21. That's a big difference. So much growth happens. So you couldn't have wanted to be the same person and whatnot. But going forward, so you stopped the modelling and whatnot. In fact, I know I wanted to say actually, had a question and I forgot it, so I try to think of a new question, but I never remember. It's the confidence. Because I really like what you're saying about being unapologetic and like almost shameless, for lack of a better word, in reaching out to people. Particularly coming from London, it's like, it's almost as if it's ingrained in us to not do that. But it's so important to put yourself out there and do that. Where do you think that almost inner instinct comes from, or to, you know, like be that type of person that you're sending people your music unashamedly and whatnot?
You know what it is? From early, I studied so many people. So the man them would just be watching football games and things like that, like in their spare time. But all I would do is I would watch rap interviews and like fashion-based stuff, right? Mainly rap interviews. I'll just watch rappers talk and like talk about their story and things like that. And one thing I always kind of thought was like, this thing was just ingrained into me about just like, you live once, so why not? That's the way I look at everything. Like, why not? Like, what's gonna happen, bro? Like, if I send you this and you share it, because back then, because I was in the modeling industry, I had a lot of big models posting my shit. So I was almost bridging the gap between Crawley and London organically. And like, I just had I had no fear. I have no fear. I feel like I'm religious, but not as much as I'd want to be. But like, I genuinely believe like only fear God. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, I just feel like I work so well under pressure and like, I just love it.
It seems like that, bro.
It's like a drug.
And I think it's interesting that I feel like you're struggling to explain it because it's something that's so in you that it's like, you never really push it front of your brain and think about it.
I think it's from knowing that my parents migrated from another country with nothing, and I watched my mum build her own business and like build her own company and turn down a lot of money in other companies because she wanted to make her own jewelry. So like, to me, I was like, because my dad is not like that. My dad is a very simple man, simple life, have his money, you know what I mean? But when I moved to London and got my job, I was on a wage that's more than my dad's ever been on. So like, watching my mum do it from early and just grind and have this vision, it almost like showed me like, why can't I do that? So in everything I've done, I've always done that. So rapping, I was down everyone's neck, like just on them, like, you need to watch my shit, I'm better than everyone. Like, I was saying I was the best in the south of England.
When he said south,
like,
I was like, what, better gigs? You mean south of England, yeah?
Just the south. That's all I would say. I would just say I'm the best rapper in south. And like, that's the thing, like, I know how to, like, with me, you know what it is, right? I think with me, the main thing was I grew up in an area where people talk too much. Oh yeah, we're making these money moves. We're doing this. We're doing that. Yeah, we're running that up. We're chasing a dream. You ain't doing nothing, bro. And people do that in London as well. They do that everywhere, right? We're doing this. We're doing that. We're working in silence. We're working in silence. You know what I mean? But me, I wouldn't do something unless I can show you that I've done it. Like, people, the way I look at it, you never had to like my music. You just had to respect the fact that I was doing it. There was a time, bro, where I was dropping a new freestyle on my Instagram every single week for like 4 months straight. And every single time I did that, go back on my Instagram if you do not believe me. And I was telling people to tag like Chucky Online, Tiffany Calver, all these people, right? All these DJs and whatnot. And they were always commenting on my shit because I had a plan and I was executing it. People just do shit with no plan, or people just talk too much and then they have nothing to back it up. So with me, it's always like, if I'm doing something, you don't have to like it, but you just have to respect the fact that I'm doing it. And I think the PTSD, I think it is just because I was around so many people who were just talking too much and not doing enough.
And it would frustrate you.
Yeah, and you see my mum, she never talked once. She didn't say anything. She would just do it. That's the thing. Like, I don't like people who talk and do nothing. I need someone to do something. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that's what fuels me. It's because like, maybe it's from when I was young and I wanted to prove people.
Yeah, so it's like almost like that underdog mentality.
I don't, bro, when I blow up and do all this and I'm the best designer in the world and I've got all this and whatever, I'm the best personality in the world, I will still feel like I haven't done enough. I can never be content. I'm never content. Never. Everyone's always like to me, oh, you done this, you done that. I'm like, but I need to do like more than that.
This and this, yeah.
Yeah, like the thing I posted this morning, like 4 days, I've got like 200 followers and da-da-da-da. I need to work harder. Like, what's that? That's nothing. I need to go harder. So I feel like, I don't know where it comes from, but I think I just remember how broke I was. Like, I just remember how broke, like, things were and, like, some of the things I was around. And I just don't want to be around that anymore. Ever again. Ever again. And I know that some people had it worse than me, 100%. But
your reality is your
to
reality,
me,
bro.
my story, like, I just can't go back to that. And
do you know what, FD, yeah? This conversation might end up being really long because there's so many things that I'm thinking about.
It's bloody hot in here. These lights are killing me.
What sort of interviews were you watching? Because I can resonate with that a lot, because I used to, when I was growing up, I was a real Cole fan, innit? And I don't know if you I'm still a Cole fan, but I don't know, you idolize people less as you grow up. I don't know if you know Cole's story like that.
I do.
But you know, Cole would always talk about how he went to uni in New York simply just so he could get in front of Jay-Z and give Jay-Z a song or something like that. So I know loads of interviews, particular ones from different rappers where they're basically having the same energy you have. What ones do you remember that really stuck out to you?
Cole's story, 100%. But I used to love listening to like a lot of people who weren't like as big as him.
Okay.
So I like Schoolboy Q's story. He was like that. He was Kendrick's hype man. You know what I mean? But one thing he always said is he knew he played his position. That's a problem with people these days. They don't know how to play their position. Someone said this recently. I cannot remember who said it. Bro, I can't remember who said it. I think it was on Chucky's podcast. Someone said it recently as well, but you need to learn to play your position. It's okay to be the backup man in the background, you know what I mean, for a bit. And then, like, look at what Schoolboy Q did, you know what I mean? Mac Miller's story resonated with me, you know, like, he was a white rapper, you know what I mean? I shaved my hair because of Mac Miller. So, I'm trying to think who else. Damn, man. I never really thought about, like, because I watched so many. I can't remember. I just remember Schoolboy Q because I just love Schoolboy Q because he was just hard. I like A$AP Rocky because he was just like, he come from like a bad part of New York, but he was just so different.
In
like,
everything.
In everything he did.
You
know what I mean? Like leather pants and like, he was very unapologetic. So like, just like things like that, you know, from early, if you're seeing things like that, it's kind of like, oh, okay, maybe it's okay to like be different. You know what I mean?
It's almost as though you don't even realize the effect it's having on you until you get to a certain age and see the man you become. And then you look back and you're like, hold on a minute, it's because of what I was ingesting.
And you want to know what's hilarious about it, It's because, bro, when I was modeling, people think it was all daisies and that, bro. It was not, bro. I used to be in, like, I'll go out, like, in the clubs or whatever, people would be chatting fucking breeze to me, bro. Calling me gay, saying mad shit to me, getting into some bullshit because people were trying to hate on me. And what happened? What are they all doing now? They're trying to model and shit.
First they laugh, then they follow, bro.
Do you know what I mean? So, but I always knew that because I listened to these stories and things like that when I was younger.
They gave you the blueprint.
So it's like, from young, I started to build this kind of tough skin,
Resilience.
you know? Yeah, this resilience to like bullshit. So like, bro, when I was rapping, everyone was like, oh, you're shit. Da-da-da-da-da. But no one could tell me I was shit. No one can tell me I'm bad at anything I do, bro. But one thing I will say, and this is one thing I live by, 100%. Tris will know this, like quitting one dream opened another dream for me. And this is what people need to realize, quitting rapping was the best thing I ever did in my life. Because if I was still rapping now, nothing would have happened for me. People want to chase a dream, but they don't put enough work in, and they put like half-ass work into it, and then they get mad at everybody else because they don't think, why is it not working? For me, I can hand on heart say I put in the utmost that I could have done in rapping. I did everything I could have done for that, and it just wasn't working out for me. And I fell out of love with it. There's a whole story behind that. But
story for another day.
Yeah, it's kind of long and kind of deep. But fell out of love with rapping, and the moment I fell out of love with that and I started doing everything else I did, changed my life.
That is the perfect segue. So cool.
Yeah.
This interview. What happened after the rapping is that when the fashion stuff started becoming.
Yeah.
So the FD from the future we see now, is that when he was born?
So FD from the future was born when I was rapping.
Okay.
So 2018, and this is what I mean as well. If you're really chasing your dream, you really have to do it. Because I was really doing this. 2018, I would have been 18, 19, 20. I don't know.
One of them.
24 now. 20. I would have been 20. Oh, sorry. I would have been 20 years old. I went to Toronto to chase my dream. My uncle lived in Toronto, but I networked with some people out there. So shout out Jimmy Prime, shout out Prime Boys. If anybody knows who Jimmy was, he was a big artist in Toronto at the time. He done some demo stuff with Drake. He was around the whole OVO camp and things like that. And he was around Smoke Dogg and all them, man. And he was just big in the streets. But I ended up getting in touch with him, and he kind of took me underneath his wing and was just kind of like guiding me through music. And I went to Toronto to link up with him. That was it. I just went there just for him to meet me, and we just chilled. He was giving me mad game and things like that. And I networked with some other people. Shout out Teddy, my boy. Shout out Mags as well. And I just went there to show my face and kind of like just build something there for the future. And Jimmy's name was Jimmy from the Six. And I remember I said to him, and he was like, you need to brand yourself. And I was like, oh, can I do like FD from somewhere? And he was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, FD from the future. And he was like, all right, cool.
Cold name, bro.
So ever since then, I've just ran with that. And that's been FD from the future. But when I rapped, obviously I was into fashion. So I've been into fashion, like I said, my whole life. It works, right? I started collecting shoes. And when I was modeling, I started making more money. I started buying more things, Stone Island jackets, more shoes, boom, boom, bow.
Did you buy any Bape?
I bought Bape, but really late. I had like a Bape tee and that, but I bought a Bape hoodie when I went to Miami. When that was in 2019. So I was rapping, but yeah, it didn't hit as much as it hit back then. But yeah, so I was rapping, whatever. And then when I stopped rapping, I had an idea. I wanted to bring a sneaker show to the UK, but it was kind of at the end of COVID, and I wasn't living in London. So I was like, cool, let me just do it on Zoom. And then I built Forever Steppin', and Forever Steppin' was my full-size run, but in the UK with like a UK twist. Had like a whole show. Like it was like, did like top 5 shoes. I would interview them. I'd do like this throwback segment. And I had loads of people on. I had Javel, had Javel Berlin, Tobias from Trends. I had TT Finlay, Stephanie Thomas. Who else did I have? Had bare people on. Had 15 guests, right? So did 15 episodes, and that kind of built this like personality, right? Me. So my kind of like interview style. And I go to say that like Alhan was an inspiration for that, because he's just so raw and he just don't give a fuck. And I recently met Alhan, so shout out him. So I recently met him and I told him like he's a big inspiration of mine. Who else? I love Big Body Bez. Oh shit. I love Big Body Bez. Shout out New York. He's fucking hilarious. I love him. He's hilarious. But also the guy behind my sneaker show, and like the reason why I made sneaker content was Brendan Dunn. I don't know if people know him. Very like quiet. He runs Full Size Run and he does the Complex Sneaker podcast. He's the guy with the big mustache. He's the reason why I started sneaker content. So I will meet him because I know some of the people who are around him in the UK. Shout out him. He knows that he's a big inspiration of mine. But so yes, I started build this like personality and like interview style. And then shout out Pavel. He is the man who runs Coated. And Pavel reached out to me because I was looking for a job in London because I was, like I said earlier, I was looking for a reason to move to London, whatever. And I applied for a copyright job at Coated, and I'm dyslexic, so that makes no sense. But he was like, cool, don't worry, I'll watch your stuff, I'll just keep in touch. In the like December of 2021, so I already got my job. So I got my job as a sneaker authenticator, and then I moved to London, whatever. We're not gonna say where. But so he hit me up and he was like, yeah, I wanna bring this idea to Coated, which is like Side Talk New York mixed with fashion. And he was like, you'll be perfect for that because of your show. And like, cause I was doing YouTube videos on shoes and whatever. I was like, fuck it, let's run it. So in the January of 2022, so this is, you gotta remember, I've done everything I've done in a year, right? January 2022, we filmed this video and we was meant to just go around Soho, right? But we got the mic wherever we walk in and we get to this pop-up randomly and it was a brand called Stitch. And I just said, fuck it, let's run it. So I was just chatting, doing my shit, chatting shit. I think there was like these 3 boys, I was calling them One Direction, all this. And like, then there was this kid, shout out him, fuck knows what his name is. There was 2 kids there, right? One kid was wearing fake Bapesters.
Did you know they were fake straight away?
He was wearing the college dropout Bapesters. And obviously I saw him from afar, so I was like, yeah, bro, I need to chat to you. Chatting to him, and he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, these are fake.
He kept it real, big him up.
And the video just did numbers, did like 700K. And like, that was like, obviously the first time I was doing that. Also alongside that, there was this little he had the bolo jacket, the Cortez bolo jacket, and Unknown T signed it. And he was like, oh, film this, Clint, I want you to sign the jacket, So I got 2 moments. So that video did like 300K, I think, of him doing that bullshit. And did some more stuff with Coated. Both of those videos blew up. And then my name started kind of like moving around the industry. And then, yeah, and then I just started working with brands.
Good.
I want you to...
No, FD, I'm loving this.
Giving you segues.
He's doing the job for me. I should just sit over there. Do you know what, FD, there's so much to unpack there. You mentioned something really interesting when you were like, you was honing in almost like your interview style when you was doing Forever Stepping, innit? Prior to doing Forever Stepping, did you know you could do this? And also, whilst you were doing it, did you start realizing that your interview style wasn't like the norm, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think after modeling, I started to build this like kind of confidence because I'm not gonna lie, bro, when you have to fucking get changed in front of like 40 girls. I remember doing a runway thing, and I had to get butt naked to change into another outfit. But obviously, man was cupping my thing and that, trying to get like that will turn you to a beast. I'm telling you, that will like standing up in front of people. Because I remember when I rapped, 2021, I had my first show in London, and I remember. This was just, I remember it was my first show in London and pulled up and there was like 8 other acts. And I remember I said to myself, I have to do something that no one will do. Okay. And it was in this kind of like club bar thing. And I was like the 3rd act and I did 4 songs. And the 2nd song, I took my top off and I stood on the bar. But I was the only one who everyone was talking about that night.
Naturally.
So these are the type of things that just turned me to what I am now. Like, I just don't give a fuck about anything. So before I knew that I was watching people do these shows, and I was just, it's so fucking boring.
Very one-dimensional.
Yeah, like, so when I had like TT Finlay, I think she was my second or third, Nike used to do this thing where they would, there was a selection of people that could do a shoe every year. It was at Air Max, right? Forgot what it's called. But she did a shoe with Nike. And I remember, I knew that was different because I said to her, started asking her wild shit, like, how much did they pay you? Like, what was the cut? And I remember afterwards, she told me, she was like, no one has ever asked me those things, and it was amazing. So from there, I just started asking even more wild shit to people.
Rinse and repeat. You found out what worked, and you just ran with it.
And then, obviously watching Alhan's crazy. I just thought, bro, what's the worst that's gonna happen? No one's gonna punch me up. It's on camera, and if you punch me up, it's peak. You just baited yourself out. So I just thought, like, why not? So, and then, and then I think, what was the second part of the question?
I can't even remember.
Yeah,
the first part was, did you know that you could do these?
I definitely knew, and then.
Yeah, did you start to realise? But you basically answered both, where you did start to realise that it was different.
Yeah, it was 100% different.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no one does that like me.
For real. 100%. And even remember when I say in the questions, that's what I was saying. Nobody interviews like you. So going forward, you started doing work with more brands and whatnot. What's that experience like? Because as you've proven throughout this whole conversation, you know how to reach out.
Yeah.
Or you reach out. Do you know what I'm saying? So when it came to the brands that you've worked with, I've seen you've worked with eBay, Offspring and whatnot. Is that opportunities that they've come to you, or have you like sent them a portfolio? And
so, like I said, man, I'm just on the grind, and I want it more than other people. So I remember the Offspring thing was really early last year as well. I think it was like June-ish or May time. It was a off-air event that they threw to do with Air Max, things like that. And basically they put up this post, and they were like, oh, if we want people to be a part of this, tell us, like, whatever. And I remember I put it up on my story, sent it to a couple of people. I was like, yo, everyone tag me and tell them that they need a presenter. Boom, did that. Didn't hear anything. Week later, someone DMs me from the creative team, and they were like, yeah, we want you to host the whole thing. So I hosted the whole thing, hosted 2 panel talks, and they had the likes of Lorenzo OG, who's my brother now, that's my dog, Linus Nutland, and then I hosted another panel with like community members and things like that. That was a bit worrying for me because it was the first time I had to like be kind of professional. But also, I remember they gave me like a whole bunch of questions. I didn't ask one of them. I just made my own questions up. We had a great conversation, and same with eBay. That was later on in the year. So in between that, I did work with bare other people, but the eBay one was the same, SneakerCon, because it was eBay and SneakerCon. SneakerCon has like 1 million followers, bearing in mind, right? But I told everyone to comment on it, and they were like, oh, we're coming to the UK, whatever. Told everyone to comment on it and be like, yo, they need a presenter. Long story short, they let me just do it. They let me run it, and then me and them have a good relationship. We've been working ever since.
Do you know, FD, what were those experiences like? Because obviously you're a sneaker guy, you're passionate about sneakers. And as I told you, I'm not really a sneakerhead like that, but I've heard that name, Lorenzo OG, before. And I know he's a big deal.
Yeah, big deal.
So when it came to you like curating those sort of, doing those panel discussions, whatnot, having to speak to people that you probably heard of years ago and whatever, how did you kind of feel in those moments? Were you still as confident? Was it like a different sort of...
you know what it is? I feel like I'm really good at differentiating the person
from the celebrity.
The person and the celebrity. So I just speak to them on a realness. So like Lorenzo, of course I was asking him about like his journey and things like that, but I was also asking him like, does it piss you off when brands copy you? And like things like that, because everyone's heard the story. I want to know some bullshit about your life. Like I want to know something funny about you. I've heard it in your interview before. You know what I mean? I want to hear something different. I want to get something that no one else has got. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's where, I work well under pressure, because like I can just switch a conversation. And like I'm really good at doing that. So I feel like, I don't know where I got that from, but...
Do you know what, FD? It sounds like almost the child in FD kicks
Yeah.
in.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're curious about this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I feel like throughout this conversation, you said so many things that people are going to learn from, but I just kind of want to highlight that because I feel like when you're trying to do stuff and you end up in professional spaces, you almost feel like you have to be a less authentic version of yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
But in being a less authentic version of yourself, you're less of the reason why they chose you.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Whereas as much as they gave you questions or whatever, the reason why the content went off or whatever and you had a great time doing it and Lorenzo OG is cool with you now, because that childlike version, your inner version of you, the real version of you came out and you done your thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Because the thing is, for me, like, I've got a job, I've got a career, all this other stuff I do is separate. Obviously, it's my passion, but I'm just like, fuck it, bro. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen?
Big facts.
Me personally, I stand up for a lot of things which are wrong in the industry. I talk up about a lot of things. So, like, I'm already looked at in a different way to other people. So I'm just thinking, bro.
Let me run with it.
Fuck it, bro. Like, what? Like, what? I don't do anything. I don't say anything wild because I'm not like that. I'm not going to say anything out of pocket because I'm not like that. But I might ask you something that no one's ever going to ask you because I'm not scared to ask you that.
Speaking of that.
Do you know what I mean?
Speaking of that, because I'm not going to sit here and say that I see all of the, almost like the in-person little microphone type content, But you know the reason I don't really pay attention to it? Because it's all the same.
Exactly.
But there's a few things that stuck out to me about yours, where you were saying, so I'm scrolling through whatever, and then you're saying things like, what's the worst crep you've seen?
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, I've never heard that question before.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so simple, but like, why is no one doing it?
Or like, what's the worst brand right now? And then people start cussing out the brand. I'm just laughing my head off.
And at the end of the day, you're not saying it.
I'm not saying it.
You get it?
So what? Someone's going to get mad at me. Like,
I ain't saying it.
Hey, it is what it is, bro. You got to do better. Like, you got to do better there, bro. Like,
do you know what though, FD? I feel like there needs to be space for honesty. Do you get what I'm saying?
The problem is, people are just scared to be themselves. People are scared to be themselves. They're scared to step out the line. And they're scared to tell brands no. Me, when I talk to brands and they start giving me all this hoorah and all this bullshit, I tell them, yo, you asked to work with me. We can't do it if you're not letting me do me. If you want that, you can't work with me.
Go get someone else.
You go get someone else. I don't need you. I actually do not need you. Do you know what I mean? I would like you because it's lit. The exposure. The thing is, the money's good, right? But I just love the exposure.
Okay.
Because when I rapped, yes, I wanted to be the best in the world. But all I wanted to do was just to share my art. I just wanted, if 1 million people didn't buy my shit, I didn't care. But if 1 million people saw it, that's all I cared about. Because I just wanted to share it. Do you know what I mean? I like to spark discussion. I like to spark debate.
Evidently.
I love to piss people off unintentionally. Because the thing is, like I did a panel the other day, everyone's talking about the best shoe in the year. I'm just looking at everyone, I'm like, look at all you sheep. Not one person in here is not one person in here is agreeing with what I'm saying. All of you are talking. Not one of you is showing some sort of personality, a shoe that you actually like. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel with my content. Everyone always says to me, when I have these conversations about, oh, why don't we ask like how much somebody's outfit costs? I don't give a fuck how much somebody's outfit costs.
Speaking.
I don't give a fuck about how much that outfit costs. I do not care. It's very rare for me to ask you even what you're wearing. Because sometimes I see what you're wearing. I want to know which brand you hate. I want to know which designer you hate the most. I want to know something funny. I want to know, like, do you know what I mean? I don't care. That's the thing with me. I don't make content I don't care about.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
FD, another great segue. Because you know one of my questions, hey,
come on. Telling you, bro.
Hey, another thing I wanted to talk about is what makes great content. Because your content is great, bro. I can't lie. It's fantastic content. You're very much you. And you've kind of alluded to the things that make great content in just the way you've answered other questions. Yeah. But I want to also caveat that question by saying, you mentioned things like you don't want to ask what people are wearing. Yeah. But those things have been going viral. So naturally it's like, I don't want to say there's a pressure there, but there's almost like a a hidden pressure to kind of do what works.
Yeah.
But I feel like with you, you're going against trends and like, let me just do it my way.
Yeah. So
yeah, what makes great content and how have you got to that point of saying, yeah, like, let me just do it my way?
Yeah, so I've always been like that. Okay. So when I rapped, my style was very much kind of like hip hop, kind of like Nines Pot of Paper, right? Like that type of sound.
Real rap.
Yeah, like not like no drill, no grime,
no auto-tune, nothing like that.
No auto-tune, nothing like that. And everyone was like, why don't you just make a drill song? Why don't you just make a dance track? Like, you know what I mean? Like a auto-tune thing, like a Young Ads type. I was like, fuck no. Like, why am I gonna do that? I can't that's not in my character. So I think like even when I make content, it's kind of like, why am I gonna do something that's out of my character? I wanna make shit. Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I make my videos and that, yeah, I'll be on the train and that, I'll be giggling. I'll be like,
you enjoy it.
It's kind of funny, because I'll be putting in like a meme or a cut. I'm like, yo, that's kind of funny. They're gonna hate me when I zoom into their face. You know what I mean? People gonna love that. But that's the thing. I feel like what people are missing, everybody just wants to follow the crowd. I know I'm gonna be the biggest. I know that. I'm happy with that. Will it happen in a year's time? Maybe not. But what I've done in a year, no one's done that, ever. No one's ever done what I've done in a year. No one. No one in the world has done what I've done to trajectory rise in a year. Everyone will be like, oh, but you don't have 1 million followers. No one has done what I've done in a year. This is the problem with people. You're not looking at it right. No one has done what I've done in a year. Cool, I've got 7K followers on TikTok. Wow. People be like, you ain't done shit.
Bro, but it's 7K engaged followers.
No one has done what I've done in a year. Do you know what I'm saying? People might have 1 million followers, but what have you done in a year, bro? I've got TikTok famous people in my DMs asking me,
how have you done it?
How have I done it? How do you work with brands?
Wow.
Why me? Why are they asking me? I got people asking me, how did you work with this brand?
Why are they asking you?
Why are they asking me?
Why are they asking
Because they can't do it. No one has done it. That's why they're asking me, bro. That's the problem with these people. Like, stop following everybody else. Start doing stuff that you actually like. That's the problem with this whole creative space now. Everybody wants to follow each other and do the same as everybody else. The only people who are big are not doing that. Do you know what I'm saying? Bro, I've got big brands chatting to me all the time, bro. Complex are working with me right now.
Sick.
Who else have they worked with in the UK? Tell me, please. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Silence.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is because, cool, 7K. I don't need 1 million followers. I don't need 1 million followers. That's the thing. Even when we'll talk about that, but when I drop my shoe and my apparel and things like that, I don't need 1 million followers. I need 100 people to buy my shit and everybody to know about it. That's it. That's where I wanted to start. You know what I mean? Because the thing is with me, I understand longevity because I've studied everyone. You know what I mean? I've studied all these famous people, these rappers, these entrepreneurs and that. Longevity. It's a problem with people. They don't see the bigger picture. They don't see the long distance.
You know what, FD? Let me cut you there.
Yeah.
And that's also a great segue. But like, I'm happy you mentioned that because Rome wasn't built on a day, pun intended. Big up my Italian brother, FD. But it's like, the reason why people feel like they have to follow trends. The reason
Twins.
The reason why people feel like they have to follow trends and shit is because it's almost as though there's a fear to be doing things at a point when people feel like you should have hit where they expect you to be.
Yeah.
So in the sense that people don't value, not necessarily longevity, but people don't, it's almost as if people don't have the mental strength, the mental fortitude to tell themselves that they're going to be doing something for a long time before they blow, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So everybody feels like, yo, I just have to copy this person and then I'll blow in the right time type thing. Yeah. So is that something that, it doesn't sound like something that you've ever kind of battled with, like a thought process, but
definitely.
How do you reckon you've got to that point where you're like, bro, I don't care how long it takes or whatever, like I'm just going to do it my way and it's going to happen?
Because you know the difference with me, I don't give a fuck about blowing. It's a problem with everyone. Everybody wants to blow. You're not going to blow. You will not blow if that is your mindset. I don't care about blowing up. I don't want to blow up like that. Do you know what I mean? I want to be able to go Tesco or Sainsbury's and get my fucking Sunday shop. You know what I mean? I don't care about blowing up. all I want to do is just share my content with everyone, share my creative with everyone. When I drop my shoe and that, I just want to share that. That's all I want to do. I don't care about being Drake. I don't care about that. I just want people to respect my art. That's all it is. Everybody wants to blow up, but they can't even tell their ex that they love them, or they can't even tell the man that's been bullying them for weeks and weeks that, do you know what I mean? These are the same people who will be trying to blow up. You ain't built like that, my bro. You are not built like that. You know what I'm saying? And those people just, they want too much and they don't put enough work in. People think they blown up because they got bare views on videos. What influence do you have in any role or any realm that you are in?
Yeah, if you speak, you'll be in big trouble.
I don't give a fuck. What influence do these people have in any of these realms with bare views and bare followers? None. I've seen more work from people who have way less. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's great. Do you know what, FD? It's great that I feel like we're at a point with the rise of the digital age, like the niche community, the niche authentic communities are finally starting to be valued. Like, as you're saying, the fact that brands are reaching out to you when you haven't got the biggest quote unquote following just goes to show that there's power in authenticity. And that's something we try to get across in every single episode. Like, people just need to feel comfortable in being themselves, because at the end of the day, you're only ever going to be you. You can't be someone else. And when people are inauthentic, you can kind of feel it and see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, you can only, what's the saying? You can only lead a horse to water.
You can't make it drink.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm not here to baby anyone. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you my words, whatever. Do whatever you want with it. Do whatever you want with it, because I'm not here to try to help people who don't want to help themselves.
Yep.
You know how many men who I've chatted to, I'm like, yo, don't do this because it will affect you in this way. And what do? They still do it. I'm not here trying to do that anymore. Like, all I do is I watch myself and that is it. Because people just think they know what they're doing. But the thing is with me, I love to learn. And the thing is as well, like, I know my position. I know that I'm second right now, and I'm happy with that. I'm content with being second.
Who's first?
I don't know.
But you just don't feel first?
I don't feel first.
Okay.
I don't think I'll ever feel
And you
first.
always going to feel second?
I'm always going to feel second. But I'm happy with that. Because the moment you feel like you're first, you've lost.
That's one thing I always say to people. Never believe in your own hype. It's
Never,
important
bro.
to be confident, but once you start believing in your own hype too much, complacency kicks in.
That's the
and all
thing.
goes downhill.
People forget with me. I'm so confident, but I'm such a harsh critic on myself. Like, I'm so confident in everything I do. Like, if somebody pulled up to me right now, the most famous content creator, and they say, I'll be like, bro, I'm better than you, but good lookings though. You know what I mean? But deep down, I know that I have to keep working regardless of anything that happens in my life. I will be the biggest designer, whatever. I will be the biggest personality, whatever. But I still will never feel like I'm the best. On God,
That's what's going to get you there, though. Do you get it? That feeling of always being the underdog.
Bro,
because it means you always have more work to do.
I'm always hungry. Yeah. I don't think there's anybody hungrier than me. And Trust will tell you, because he worked with me. He's seen me day to day for over a year now. He knows how much work I put in.
So speaking of the hunger, for me, hunger is the cornerstone, if you want to call it that, of consistency. And I remember I was telling you off camera, bro, I'm scrolling through your TikTok for 10 minutes, then I'm checking the date and it's still saying 4 days ago. I'm like, what the? You get it? So how do you remain so consistent? Like, what goes into that tangibly? How can you teach other people to be consistent?
You just don't want it enough. That's my answer. You just don't want it enough. If you really want it, you'll show people that you want it. You just don't want it enough. That's it.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. And it's annoying because I used to post 3 to 4 times a day on TikTok for a year straight, right? For a year straight. And then I felt like with the algorithm recently, it hasn't been doing me justice, because there was a point where I was getting like 2K on all 3 every time I posted. And then I don't know what's been going on the past 2-3 months. It's been like 300 views.
So you've had to kind of almost.
So I've just done like 2 a day. And that burns me. That burns me.
You want to do more?
I want to do more, but I can't. So, but it's okay. But it's just annoying. But my advice is, if you don't want it enough, if you aren't consistent. The only way you can be consistent is if you want it enough. And that's it. And we see that with not only content creators, designers, things like that. Like, if you want it, you go get it. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people like, I know you speak about Clint a lot on the podcast, and shout out Clint. He's a massive inspiration, and he's
been wanted it.
He's bro, one of the best things he ever wrote, which was recently on his Twitter, and it was like, if you weren't on my side this year, then good luck. And that's exactly how I feel. That is exactly how I feel, because next year,
different.
Yeah. And in 2 years,
different.
I don't even know if some of my family members are gonna be able to. Nah, but I honestly believe if you really want it,
you get it.
Like, I never complain, Tris, I never complain about consistency. I know I'm consistent because I want it. But I always say to him, I need to do more than this.
Hey, do you know what? Let me be real, yeah? Because I can't lie, as you're talking, I'm feeling a bit pressured in the sense that I know I need to be more consistent with everything we're putting out. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But FD, it gets hard sometimes, man, in the sense that, bro, there's always distractions, bro. So how do you end? Because did you say you have a missus?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna call missuses distractions.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're more than that.
No. But I'll keep it a buck. Sometimes it affects my relationship.
Okay.
And this is, people don't see this side of these things. It affects my relationship sometimes, you know, like my girl might be like, yo, you're always on your phone, or like when I'm with you, because I might not see her in a week, or then I might see her and then she's like, when I'm with you, you're on your phone, da-da-da-da-da. And I've been struggling with that. And I've been trying to, you know, maneuver around it. But then again, I'm not. But if I was single, I don't think I would be interested in, like, in women, pause, not in a weird, no homo, but I just mean, like, I just know what girls are like. Because when I was single, when I was rapping and that, like, it was just like, I was just beating, you know.
It takes up a lot of time.
Takes up time.
When we say women, it's not like we're saying women are a bad thing. I'm just
using
women as a way of saying,
of course,
there's things that affect our ability to be
women,
consistent.
Parties,
everything.
Boom, boom, bow. But I generally think with my mindset now, if I was single, I would probably work even way harder.
Naturally, because you'd have more
not gonna
time.
lie, I'd work harder.
For real.
So again, my advice to that, you don't want it enough. And if that hurts you, then you gotta work harder, my boy.
No, big facts. No, I hear it though.
Do you know what I mean?
I hear it. No, for real, because that's what I try and tell myself anyway, because nobody's gonna work for me.
No one's gonna work for you, bro. And you know what it is? I always think that if I'm not doing it, somebody else is doing it. And that burns me. So like, for instance, like I always tell people that, like, how'd you do it? I'm like, bro, like I might go to work, film some shoes. I'll go have a shit at work. I'll do the voiceover. In lunch, I'll edit the video, have it drafted. By that night, I'll post it. There you go. If you really want it, you'll do it. You know what I mean? People are always, not you. People who talk the most, be chatting the most. Oh yeah, I'm making moves. You're sat on your bed for 4 hours looking at TikTok, doing nothing. Doing nothing. Do you know what I mean? Hustler's mentality, bro.
No, for real, man. And we gotta. It's interesting because I feel like when you're trying to achieve something as a creative or whatever you're doing, you have to look at where you can make the marginal gains as well. So I like what you said of that. Even when you're at work, you'll be working on the TikTok there. Do you know what I'm saying? You'll be using those small little moments to make things happen. Because for me, it's like, let's look at football, for example. Elite level sport. It's the fine margins that make the winners. Like Michael Phelps is winning all those gold medals in the Olympics or whatnot because he did that one extra second of work. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's just important that we have that mindset. And again, we need to give ourselves grace in the sense that we're humans, life happens.
Of course.
You need to have that mentality and that standard and try to never fall beneath it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But one thing, when I've been speaking to like my OGs and that, a lot of them keep telling me like, you're young. So whilst you're young, run it up as much as you can, because by the time you get to their age, you won't have that in you. And I know that. So fuck it, innit? I might as well run up
take
as much as I
advantage
can.
of our youth and our energy.
Bro,
yeah.
I sleep at night, that's it. I watch man them sleep on the train all the time, bro. I'm editing videos on the train. I'm finding shit to do on the train, you know what I mean? Facts. I sleep at night, that's it. That is it.
That's how it's got to be.
And I remember as well, I don't live at home, so I live a normal life at work, whatever, do all my editing, whatever, go home, cook, clean, all that, shower, whatever, cook, clean, da-da-da-da-da, and edit more, and then go to bed, wake up, do that whole shit again all week, weekend, run up, do that shit throughout the week, boom.
No, do you know what, FD? I'm so happy. You're so I'm really happy that you're so transparent about this, and I'm so happy we had this conversation because, as you said, the year you've had, no one's really had that year before. Do you get it? And this is the reason. It's the work rate. You get it? Yeah. And as you said, you've looked at people's stories or whatever, and we look at what Clint's doing, and we look at his tweets, and it's like, bro, he's worked, bro.
The thing is with Clint as well, which I love, 2016 we spoke because this is when I was modeling. This is when he had his first brand. So I don't know Clint well to be like, that's my guy, but shout out Clint.
Yep.
He is a massive inspiration for myself. But so we've been in contact since then, right? And I've watched what he's done since 2016. So I know how much work he's put in. And when I see people trying to tarnish his name and that, I'm just like, bro, you do not know what that boy has done. So that's one person I 100% stand by. And I honestly want all the best for him because he deserves every single thing
he's getting
that's happening for him.
100%.
And people like him allow me to envision that as well because I've seen what he's done. And it's almost made me think like, I know I'm going to get it because he's done it.
That's the only way to look at it, man.
100%. Because a lot of people look at him in an envious eye and you man need to go get a job or something. Because
envy's real, bro.
It is.
It's real.
It is very real.
I was going to say, so we're going to start rounding off soon, but you've been mentioning biggest designer. So obviously, FD, most people know you as a content creator, sneaker enthusiast, sneaker expert.
Yeah.
People don't know you as a designer. So what are you alluding to? What's coming?
So, the funniest thing is, this whole personality stuff and things like that, I'm just doing it to build a platform.
Okay.
This is one thing, because I saw on your podcast that everybody keeps talking about the blueprint that Clint has brought, right? The problem is with that, like I said earlier, everybody's trying to copy it. Everybody's trying to do their own crossbar challenge. Everybody's trying to do their own New York pop-up. You can't do that. Please, you are not him. You cannot do that. But what you can take from it is all he's saying in the grand scheme of things is build your platform, then drop your shit. People are dropping clothes and getting mad because they got 50 T-shirts in their mum's living room and they got 100 pairs of joggers in their fucking bathroom and that, but you've built no platforms. How do you think you're going to sell that? You're never going to sell that. You've built no platform. What I'm doing, I'm just building a platform. So when I drop my shit, people are going to buy it. All this personality stuff, this is Fabio. This is me. There's no mask I'm putting on. There's no nothing. We're talking like this. This is how I talk on the street. You know what I mean? It's no different. I'm just building a platform for myself. So when I drop my own stuff, Antonio, I mean, you could probably guess it. Antonio is my middle name. It is also the Italian version of my granddad's name who passed, Tony, Antonio. So it means a lot to me. That's the name of the umbrella, the brand, the designer, whatever. Within that is me and my dog. He's not here. He's in Vietnam right now. Morgan and Lavia, my brother. So Antonio is going to be, when it comes, it's going to take a fucking while. It's fucking expensive. A shoe, sneaker, and apparel. Apparel is probably going to come first because it's a bit more easier.
More accessible.
Yeah, it's more accessible. A shoe, fucking hell. It's very expensive, but design for the shoes done. Apparel's in the works. I'm not rushing anything. Platform's still being created. When it's ready, it's going to be fucking crazy, especially the shoe. The shoe's going to be something the UK hasn't seen. So,
bro, I'm really excited for it because of this conversation.
Yeah.
In the sense that, bro, we've been speaking for probably like an hour and a half now, and I've learned so much about you, bro.
Yeah.
And I feel like whatever you're going to produce and put out is going to be sensational because you have that mindset of, I need to hit a certain level and I'm not going to concede on that. Do you get what I'm saying?
Anything I drop has to be fire. Could never be trash. That's it.
Simple as that.
Yeah, man. Because, I mean, you see my content, you see the consistency. Like, when have you seen a video that's trash? I might do a little funny, little face video on that. Get me a couple views on that. A couple likes. But the majority of the videos are TT.
Proper.
You know what I mean?
Sound quality, everything.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, why do you think if I'm going to drop a shoe, it's going to be trash?
Yeah.
And, like, if you look on my Instagram, and I mean, you follow me, people will see my story a lot of the time. a lot of the archives that I'm referencing and things like that, shit people don't even know about. So don't expect the fucking Air Force, because it's not that.
It's not that.
It's definitely not that. And the apparel as well, do not expect stuff that you usually see, because a lot of the archive and referencing are very different to what people are doing.
Do you know, FD, you sound like a student of the game, and we're going to wrap up soon, yeah?
Okay.
But before I lose you, in the sense that the conversation's going to end, like, not anything bad. Yeah. But obviously, you built a community. Yeah, I can see that. And you've built a community from being authentic and, you know, being yourself, having that personality and whatnot. How have you kind of learned what goes into building a clothing brand? Because it's not the same. No. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So what's the learning process for you? And what do you think the fundamentals are of having a clothing brand that people buy into?
I think, obviously, Cortez being a massive part of the game, he has shown that being different in terms of design helps you stand out a lot of the time. So obviously in the early doors, he had like the staple joggers, right? That some would say is a simple design, but it obviously separated him from everybody else.
The way he did it.
The way he did it. And nowadays he's been doing a lot more certain pieces. Obviously he did the skydive jacket that blew up the internet, you know what I mean? Like things like that. But also I just feel like with like a clothing brand, the best thing is to have a story behind it and also have some sort of personality behind it as well.
When you say a personality, what do you mean?
I mean like kind of mixed with a story, you know? Like I kind of want to drop every capsule, right? I don't want it to just be some clothes. I want there to be some sort of story behind every single piece I drop. Because people buy into stories, right? And if it's authentic and organic, people are going to love that. I feel like the problem is nowadays, everybody's just trying to drop graphic tees and fucking joggers. I've got enough joggers. And your graphic tee peels off after 2 washes. You know what I mean? We have to have some sort of... Is different? There has to be some sort of difference in between these brands. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
I feel like people are just copying the brands too much. Like they're copying each other. They're copying Clint too much. They're copying, you know, I can't even think on the top of my head now.
But yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's where I want to try the hardest in my, intricate designs, especially on my shoe, because that is just a crazy piece in itself. But the apparel I drop, I want it to be just different, you know, like, because everybody references, right? But I want my references to be different. So my first apparel, I mean, it's not really, it's pretty bait. It's all I fucking wear. It's going to be a football shape tracksuit, football-inspired tracksuit, because that's all I fucking wear nowadays. So I'm pretty much just showing you lot that's what I want to do. But don't copy that because it's going to be shit. I'm going to have the best one. But yeah, I'm just rambling on that.
No, everything you said was big facts, man. Like, and I loved hearing what you were saying because, bro, we've had so many conversations now, and that's something that weaves through every single conversation, the power of storytelling. People buy into stories, have personality behind your brand. Speaking of personality, the reason I touched on the personality point is because every episode we speak about personal branding and how important it is. Naturally, you're doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that you feel like it's important.
Yeah, 100%.
Why is it important, and how does one go about building a personal brand?
So the problem is, nowadays, everybody wants to be personal for a brand. I'm a personality for my brand. What that means is, like, I speak up on a lot of things within the communities and the culture, fashion community. For instance, you know, like, a lot of people violating women, people violating black women, things like that. I remember last year I spoke up on something and no one else spoke up on it. And people started looking at me in a bit of a different light. But I stand on that. You know what I mean? Because in the street, you ain't going to, like, for me, someone's racist in the street, you'll get clapped for that. You know what I mean? I'll slap you in the face for that. You know what I mean? So why would I now dim myself down because I'm in more of a public light? No way, bro. I'm going to talk more up on these things, you know what I mean?
Because you have the platform.
Because I have the platform now. So if someone's doing something that I don't agree with, hey, best not be around me, boy, because I'm going to say something. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people, they might be quiet because, oh, the person works at brand, or, oh, they could get me this. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who you work for. I don't give a fuck where you're at in life. I don't care. If you've done something that I disagree with, I want to talk up on it. But that's the problem. People want to be a person for a brand. Oh, yeah, the brand wants me to do this. It's not really in my character, but I'm going to do it anyway. No, I'm not going to do that. Why? I don't need the brand. I'll just do it myself. You know what I mean? That's the problem nowadays with people. You have to be the person you are on camera, off camera, and every day, which I am. Problem is people, I don't know how these people do it, faking it all the time. Because, boy, I really do not know how you can do that. You go home, you're fucking doing some wild shit. I don't know. Me, I'm consistent through and through. My peoples will tell you, before he even knew me, I've been the same.
So in essence, FD, you're basically saying to build a personal brand, you just have to be yourself.
Exactly.
Wow.
Easy, right? Just do not dim yourself down for any brand. Don't do anything out of your character for money, for exposure, things like that. Always be yourself and do not fall into this rat race and this game. Who the fuck cares about the game, man? We're just out here, we're living.
Stay in your
Forever
lane.
living, you get me?
Hey, FD, you dropped some real gems, you know.
Come on.
I can't lie, bro. Obviously, I'm going to round off. I've got one more question.
Okay.
But I just want to say thank you, man.
Nah, thank
you for being so honest. I've learned a lot, like, bro, as much as you're a student of the game as well.
Yeah.
Rash will tell you, bro, I love having conversation. And I was even saying this to Tris off camera, like, there's a lot I feel like from just seeing your content and just the way you are, there's a lot I feel like I could have learnt from you, and I have learnt that from you in this conversation.
Appreciate that,
as
man.
much as I seem so confident to people, there's so many things that I don't do because of a lack of confidence. But hearing your story and hearing where that kind of confidence comes from, now I feel like I've got a fire in my belly to kind of do things that I weren't doing before, bro.
That's all I ever want to do, you know? I just want to show people that things are possible, you know what I'm saying? And don't put this in the edit, but Tris, can I say about your story or not? Just about you making content and stuff. Yeah, so obviously my guy Tris. So when I first met him, obviously I was doing my own thing, and like even Tris was around me a lot of the time, and he was like, "Yeah, I want to do like make like film content about like movies and things like that, which is very niche, right?" And he was a bit worried, you know, and things like that. And I said, "Bro, I guess I kind of helped him start his thing, and now his thing's fucking popping.
Sick, bro.
His thing's popping off."
Wait, how comes? What, Tris? Can we keep this in the edit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I asked him.
What is it? Shout out the platforms and that.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Big up you, Tris, man.
Tris, what is that at? Well, if it ain't Marvel. So if you're into films, movies, things like that, reviews on movies, all the early stuff, well, if it ain't Marvel, that's my guy's account. Boom, you get me?
I can't know what Instagram.
Everything.
No, make sure you check that out, man.
Yeah. Sick. Make sure you check that out because, yeah, so that's just one example. And Tris is around me all the time. So I got people in my DMs telling me, "Yo, you helped me do this. You inspired me to do this." And that's all I ever wanted to do. That's what I mean about sharing my content with everyone. I don't care if I got 1 million followers, because half of these people got 1 million followers, and what have they ever done for anyone? You know what I'm saying? I built real relationships with people. People hit me up and they're like, I bought this because you were in there, and now I feel da-da-da-da. Oh, I started making content on it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is all I ever wanted. You know what I mean? Because I'm a good person. All I want is the best for everyone. If you're doing some fuck shit, best not come around me, because I don't agree with none of that. But for the people who aren't, and you're just genuine like me, that's all I want. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man.
That's it, man.
I'm just... I'm a student, innit? I love to learn. I'm a sponge. I love to learn from everyone. I'm never going to feel like I'm number one. I'm always ready to play my position, and I'm just ready to grind. But no one's working as hard as me.
You know what, FD? Everything you said, that essence has definitely shone through this whole interview, bro. So thank you so much.
No,
I've got
you, bro,
one more. You're welcome, bro. I've got one more question. We asked this to all of our guests. With you, you've kind of answered it for brands already. So I would say, what would be your one piece of advice for the next generation of fashion content creators?
Don't try to be like me, because you can't do it like me. Stop trying to copy everybody else. Take inspiration, but do not copy. And just be yourself, and don't dim yourself down for any brand, and do things that you wouldn't do within your character.
Perfect. FD?
That's it. My guy,
bro.
Love.
Honestly, thank you so much for that conversation, bro.
Come on, I'm gassed.
Bro, I'm charged, bro.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go home and do more work. Bro,
literally.
You know what I'm saying? I was gonna say, just lastly, if you could just tell them where to find you and whatnot.
Okay. You already know, man. FD from the U, know. Catch me everywhere. FD from the future, all social medias. I made it easy for you lot because you lot are lazy. Let's go.
Make sure you check out FT for the future.
Come
on. You know where to find us. WMTV_LDN, Instagram, TikTok. Obviously, either you're on YouTube or Spotify right now. But yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Yeah, hope you learned a lot. Keep it locked. Thank you for watching another episode of Where's My Podcast. If you ever want to take in future episodes on the go, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Whilst you're there, please leave us a 5-star review. It will really help. And also, don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, WMTV_LDN, to keep up to date with the latest goings on in UK fashion. Keep it locked.